Hello, everyone. I want to do a weekly recap today of just sort of how the week went, what I'm looking for next week in the market, how I've positioned my portfolio, and just some TA, right, to back all of that. Obviously, it was kind of like not my best week. I being a bit of a perma bear. Look, I mean, I'm a swing trader, so if I'm accumulating this week, doesn't mean I'm looking to make profits this week. That's what some of the day trades in the Discord are for. I accumulate for a move that might occur in the next week or two. So if you're a scalper, don't follow my trades, right? Because not everything is going to play out, drop of a hat. Don't get me wrong. It's great when that does happen. But again, this is a patient process. That's how I operate as a trader. I'm inching into positions. I accumulate over time. And when I see 20, 30, 40, 50% on my options, I get out. At least I try to. I try to be disciplined and do that. I did want to recap sort of some of the big players, the marquee names, right? Bitcoin. I want to go over Bitcoin. I want to go over my wolf position. I want to go over silver. Those are the big ticket items, and Intel. I want to go over Intel. Um, we also have to keep in mind. Let's start with Intel. Actually, no. Oh, oil. I got my oil chart up for a reason. So I am. Let me just see here. Am I sharing screen? I should be, right? Yeah, I am. So what I wanted to go over is oil. So very interesting what happened today. We were trading oil. We're out of our leap options, right? We covered those around $100, give or take $99, and then I tried to day trade it off support today with my team, and it wasn't holding. So I took a very small loss at 96.10, and then it went even lower, and then it closed below support. Guys, when I say sell, the technicals are telling me I'm not being emotional when I say let's take a small loss here. Nothing wrong with the tiny, like literally I lost like 3% on those options. Where we just weren't getting the bounce. We were bear flagging on the 5 minute. I just said nope. Because what's gonna happen, you hit support 3, 4, 5, 6 times, it's weakening, right? I knew eventually support's not gonna hold, but I'm gonna try to day trade it while it lasts, while the fun lasts. And then so we got here and we closed below. So this is interesting. As we know, if you follow me long enough, a close below support is not confirmation, similar to how a close above resistance is not confirmation. That's what I call a trigger. If you've triggered a breakdown or a breakout, but you have to confirm it. You confirm by closing in a second candle beneath the low of the first candle. Okay? It could be a third candle as well. If it doesn't happen on the second candle, but happens on the third, that's still confirmation. Okay? Um, what I'm looking for right now is it's going to be interesting. There's peace talks in Pakistan this weekend with, excuse me, my nose, this weekend with JD Vance. And if they go out and there's a peace agreement, oil's going to tank. Oil's going to break out of this channel. Okay. What's the first stop? We're going most likely, you've got 91 right here, as you can tell, but I think it will go through that. I think it will go more into this base plate around $87, $88. So what I did, I alerted everyone in Money Team just now, like literally 10 minutes ago, that I bought some SCO shares, which shorts is a leveraged ETF against oil, shorting oil. I can't buy the options, right? I can't buy them after hours, so I just did the shares on SCO. I bought that in the after hours, and if we were to go to 88, we're looking at roughly about a 15% gain on SCO. And I have some put options that may or may not be down. If obviously if there's a peace agreement, there's going to be a broader rally in the stock market. So that might help a little bit with some of my put positions. So it's just a little bit of hedging mostly, but technically it's also an interesting. I would have maybe even done a put option on USO before the bell, but I didn't get around to it. So and there's also, this is not confirmed, right? So you would be definitely front running it, but you've got your break. So it's like it's 50-50 at this point. I would do small position size on like a 1 week option. If it were to break, it would be a very nice return, but I wouldn't go in too heavy because there could be breakdowns in negotiations, and then we reverse back into the channel the market dumps to start next week, which is going to coincide with Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin has broken resistance. It hasn't closed. We still have a couple hours until this candle closes, but it's looking good. I mean, like this basically would have to come back down under 72.8 or so. But it's looking like it wants to go higher. I did nibble on a couple puts, but guys, I'm talking super small position. So I implore you not to go heavy because Bitcoin, it's this is not a high probability trade right now. But I did want to just get a little skin in the game to play to my uh to play to my thesis, right? That we're in a bear market. However, if Bitcoin does confirm next week, if the market wants to rally pretty hard, then we're probably going up to about 79,000. Just going to level with you. That to me is going to signal a potential bottom in the bear market if we do that. Now, we could come back down over time, break 73,000, and then maybe come down to the bottom of this channel around 65. But honestly, guys, if this is how it's going to play out, then I don't think we're going into. I'll be the first one to say I don't think we're going to the 40s like I thought, or the 50s. It just looks like this is like, but this is just bullish. I got to respond to the charts. It's not about my ego, right? You know, if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. I'm not going to lose money just because my ego wants to stay. I want to stick to a position no matter what. But this is looking like pretty interesting if you're a Bitcoin holder. But if we do confirm above this trend line, we are going to go up here. I'll tell you that right now. It's around 79,000. So if there is bad news on the weekend, which is the only way I really see this coming back down, then if that were to happen, we would actually maybe on Saturday we'd start opening some candles in the low 72s, and then Monday the market would go lower. That's why I didn't go too heavy on the options, because I'm doing it more just to test my thesis. I'm not predicting a conflict over the weekend. It would be interesting, but you never know. But the price action is it's borderline. It's very borderline right now. USDT dominance though, which it moves the opposite of Bitcoin. It is still above resistance, so this could still break out and go higher and crash Bitcoin. Until this gets lost, I'm not gonna officially give up on my bear case, because when you break out, price actually will come back and retest and turn previous resistance into support. We could still be doing that, guys, but I know I'm drawn. I'm I'm pulling straws, or whatever the term is. It is getting very dicey for the Bears. Now I did want to get back to WULF. So WULF was interesting. My stop loss did not trigger this morning. I was kind of annoyed. It blew right through my stop, didn't trigger, so I was down in loss, and I said, you know what? I feel strongly about this play. I'm going to trust my trend lines, and I bought a little more to my options. I don't really love doing that, and I don't recommend an inexperienced trader do that. But I did average down into that option around $20, give or take, and then we did come down. We actually produced this really beautifully bearish topping tail. Obviously, you still need continuation, right? One candle isn't enough to substantiate the move. You got to have the next day close beneath the low, and then you've got your confirmation of a reversal. So I'm looking at WULF. I still really like this as a short trade, guys. I know it's not popular and sexy to go short on WULF when you have a run like this, but what, you would rather short down here when people were terrified of a pullback? Now you're like destroyed, right? Your options are worthless. So I'm gonna stay. I'm short WULF still, and I'm up about 3% or 3 or 4%, I think, on those options. I want to quickly go over Cipher. Again, my stops just were crap this morning. Nothing. Everything got skipped over. I think it was just the volatility to start the morning, but they just didn't trigger. So I did the same thing I did. I wasn't really wanting to add more. I just nibbled a little bit around, I think around 17.10 ish, $17. So these are just slightly in the money now because WULF or Cipher did come down. And again, a very nice bearish candle here that needs to confirm on Monday. And guys, I want to be clear, even if the market rallies next week, which is a good possibility, it's an earnings week, so we could start the week off decently, especially if there's some good news in the Middle East. But if that were to happen, that doesn't mean none of these plays aren't going to pull back, right? I mean, not everything goes. I mean, look at the software stocks: Palantir, Snowflake, CRM. If you were shorting those, God, I mean, it didn't matter the market was up whatever it was this week. You're printing. So you can strategically short the market like I'm doing with Intel, which yeah, I know I had a good day. So if you're upset about you got into Intel and you're like, "What the heck, Parker?" I told you guys this might go up again the next day. Now it closed above resistance, but it hasn't confirmed. Has to close a candle above. It wouldn't surprise me to see this wick up on Monday and it comes back in. That's what I'm thinking will happen. The market will play tricks with you. I'm not giving up on this position until I get confirmation. And then if I do, I'm gonna just I'll take my 10% loss and move on. That's roughly, if we were to go up here, I'd be down like 10% on those options. I'll just get out at that point because there's not a lot of resistance. After that, you probably go to 67, then $70, and then I'm just freaking wrong on that. I mean, my trend line failed me, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think I'm gonna be okay next week. Intel's is overbought. I don't think it. I think it will go to 70 eventually, but not before it goes to 46. You've heard me say it here first, okay? That's my prediction. We're gonna get a pullback on Intel next week, even if the market is relatively strong. I think we're gonna see that. You'll actually notice here, the third week of January, we had a big drop. Now that was earnings related, mind you, but the market was up these 3 days. If you go look at the chart, the market was up and Intel pulled back. And I get that was an earnings sell off, so you have like that's why you have this gap down, right? So you got to take that with a grain of salt, but still, I'm fine. I added to my Intel position. I told you guys I would do that. I added around here, 62.80 roughly. I think I'm still down like 1% or 2% max. I'm not stressing it. Yeah, that's kind of those are the trades on my radar. We actually took calls, guys. Hey, I actually do calls. Yes, I know, if you can believe it. We did calls on Palantir today. We did well on that. We made about 5%. I was up as much as 10%, but it came down and hit my stop. I didn't really want to hold Palantir over the weekend, but that is a nice little candle right here. I'll tell you that right now. If we come back down to 126 on Monday, I think I'm going to go long on Palantir. I still think Palantir is going to $95 this year. I've been very vocal about that. My price targets keep getting hit. I was bearish up here when people are like, no, it's going to 220 after earnings. I'm like, no, it's going lower. Especially it broke. I had a wedge pattern up here. It broke around 173. I'm like, this is going at least to 140. So we got actually to the previous all-time high, or not previous pivot high back here. This is a reliable bounce zone, but until it isn't, we've tested it 3 times. I would expect Palantir next week maybe wicks down. I'd grab some calls. We go up maybe to 136. We hover here for a while, and then I think we roll over when the market turns bearish again, which I think it will. Just telling you, we're not going to stay bullish forever. It's been a good run, guys, but I still think there's issues with the economy. The jobs data is just terrible. Every week the GDP is contracting. I still think smart money is selling. They didn't buy this rip very much. The volume was very low the last week, which is very interesting on the SPY, I mean, on the S&P 500. The volume is very low. I don't trust this move. I'm not being stubborn as a bear. I'm following the charts. The charts are telling me the price is lying. That's what it's telling me. So I'm going to position a little bit early maybe, but I'm going to position because when people come running to me saying, hey, is it too late to buy these puts? I'm already up 50% while they're sort of doing the bear FOMO. I had a lot of people coming to me literally near the bottom of the market with massive bear FOMO. And that's when I started taking some of my puts off the table. I didn't take everything off the table. Truthfully, like the Monday when the market recovered, or the Tuesday after that Trump tweet, I lost like all of my profits from Friday. But my Thursday was up so big it didn't matter. But thankfully I took a lot off the table. Otherwise, I would have lost most of my profits. So you don't want to be whether you're a bear or a bull, you don't want to be a hog, right? You really don't want to be a hog. But Palantir, that's the chart there. Silver, I'm gonna do silver, and I think we're gonna wrap it, and I'll give you my thoughts for next week. Silver again, it's not my best trade, guys. I'm you know how I am. I'm not here to give you I'm not here to flex. I'll flex when I should flex, and I'll beat up on myself when I should beat up on myself. This thing, I'm not gonna totally give up on it, but if the market's really bullish that next week, I don't see why silver wouldn't be, frankly. I thought this was a wedge pattern, but it might just be it might just be too premature for me to call this a rising wedge. So yeah, I think I give it Monday, and then I'm gonna set a stop. My stop also got skipped today. I just kind of held it. This has been a messy trade of mine. I'm not perfect, guys. It's okay. I made a ton of money shorting gold. Did very well. But now when you overstay your welcome and you keep repeating the same trade, eventually the market starts clawing some of its money back. So this is another lesson. When you do really well on gold, you make like I made like 125% on gold, shorting gold in 2 days. 2 days. And it was about a little larger position than what silver is, and I'm down about 18% right now on silver. So, yeah, if we get a pullback in silver tomorrow, I might just use that to get out, frankly. We'll see. On Monday, I mean. So that's basically it, guys. I just wanted to give you sort of an overview of the TA. Obviously, like these plays, they're still in the incubator, right? They're still cooking. So, if you're a scalper and you're like, this isn't doing anything, or you said, this was going to go down and I'm down on 10% today. And guys, you don't swing trade. You're missing the point, right? You're never going to necessarily get the perfect entry. I do sometimes, but it's the lesser likelihood. You have to always plan for the market to work against you a little bit and then ease into your positions. It's much more responsible to do it that way. I just know right now Intel isn't guaranteed money, but it's a guaranteed good risk reward. Just up here, we're overbought. We're on historic resistance. We did break it, but that could easily be a bull trap. And if I'm wrong, I'll know very quickly. I'm not shorting up here, and then now it's here, and then I'm gonna have to get out, and it's like a 40% loss. At worst, I'm gonna lose 10% on this trade. Whereas I've projected maybe upwards of 50%. So it's a 5-to-1 risk reward. Why wouldn't I take that? Right? If I have to wait a weekend for that move to start, I mean, guys, look, have a little bit of delayed gratification. Come on. But next week is looking generally, if you want my opinion, it's looking good unless there's something in the Middle East that happens. If there's a breakdown in the talks, that will obviously tank the market. I mean, the market seemed completely immune to any data this week, which was very interesting. I was wrong about that. I thought for sure CPI would cause a stir, but I just think the market's priced a lot of good. Like CPI came in a little soft. I think it's just been priced in. So fair is fair. I mean, the market price is truth, right? The market will tell you what has been digested news wise and what hasn't been. So if we get a breakdown in Middle Eastern affairs, we're going to have a pretty big pullback. We're on resistance right now. This sort of closed above on the QQQ, but again, it hasn't confirmed above resistance. That's so what I would keep you guys be mindful of that. I wouldn't be chasing moves, right? Currently in this market, I mean we've seen a lot of things give it back. Like Pan W just got smoked. And then guys, this is why I don't chase. I mean, if you're buying down at 150, you're fine, right? You still gave it back today, but look at that retracement. That's why I'm not chasing as a bull in this market, guys. I don't trust this market. Okay. And people literally flipped like blind bulls. They're blind bulls in my Discord. And I'm not trying to shade anyone. I'm just like observing. Everyone's like gone bullish. I'm like, guys, a week and a half ago, the sky was falling. I'm still bearish, but I'm following the charts, right? I'm not it's not because it's my ego or because I want to be proven right or because I was bearish the last week. I have to be consistent every week. No, it just tells me right now this is probably a fake rally, but it's a good rally. I'll give it credit. I wish I participated in it. Could be fake. I still wish I participated, but it's not one to be trusted at this point. We might have a few, I think the earnings week coming up, TSM is reporting. I think you have a Netflix. I think Netflix might be an interesting option play next week to go long because they've been so beaten down. I think they can go up maybe as high as 108 next week. So I might be looking to play them long on Monday. I'll look into that. But yeah, TSM, it's gotten overbought. I'll do TSM lastly, and then I'm gonna stop. I don't want this video to go too long. Jeez. So TSM it's not over. It's 62. It just doesn't excite me. I should have been smart and been buying it down here. I didn't do that, unfortunately. So TSM, we're getting up to resistance. There's only so much meat on the bone here, guys. I'd rather play Netflix personally. But TSM might go higher. But that's it for today. I think the market has a bullish leaning next week. I also want to say we did start shorting IWM. The Russell 2000, we're on resistance. Everyone who entered when I entered, you're in the money. Not by much, but we're all in profit right now. We got in about here, 262. We might be down on Monday. I'll be honest. The market might bounce. So just you've been warned, but we're right up on resistance, guys. 263, I would accumulate as high as there. I'm only in a starter position. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. As you can see, I'm still positioned a little cautiously in the market, and but strategically on things that are overbought or have run up quickly. So I'm not really, except with the exception of IWN, I'm not shorting like the Nasdaq or the SPY because it might still go higher next week. But I do think we're going to see some rotation, and that's what I'm planning for, guys. So happy trading for next week. It should be an explosive week. Lots of good earnings catalysts to position for, and we'll see what happens in the Middle East this weekend. Obviously, we wish the best that we get some sort of solution, and finally, oil comes down to probably under $90. So that's it, guys. Take care.